I don't know if you know much about KSI or Tommy Fury. They're boxing on the same card. Have you seen that?
I know minimal. I know
Yeah.
I know Tommy Fury, of course, because he's brother, not because of him.
Right.
And I'm
Tyson.
guessing he's a decent boxer and he knows how to box. And KSI seems like he was an athlete. What he did before?
He was a nerd.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like a video game
But
player.
he's blessed by the color. He's probably super powerful and fast. I mean, they're better than us. You got black people is the best people.
This is so funny.
They're so explosive, talented. I mean,
That's funny.
look at John Jones. He's a perfect fighter.
John Jones is fucking.
That's
Jesus
my number
Christ.
one of all time,
Yeah.
forever, and I don't give a fuck.
You saw Dana said if there was one person in the world he would have to fight for his life, it would be John Jones. You see him say that? I think it's the best person.
It is.
Fuck. In any situation, like who's that guy? John Jones.
And personally, I know him. He's a great fucking guy.
Yeah.
Like he's a good guy, because I was training there when I had nothing, even before the UFC. Like I was sleeping on the dorms with nothing, and he would just bring you all his Nike line, shoes.
Damn.
And back then, he doing that, dude. I will never forget. He's a good guy.
That's amazing.
He's a cool guy.
Like when you first started, you were saying when you first got into UFC?
Like right before the UFC, the UFC brought me to Jackson so I can train, and they will see how good I was, because I'm coming from Ecuador.
Right.
I don't have this background of anything. I have like 3 fights on YouTube, fucking fighting for my life.
How'd they
pretty much,
find you?
because I did the right thing and I started fighting around Latin America. I went to Peru, I went to Panama, I went to Mexico, and I started to getting to know. I was like, oh, who's this kid fighting all these countries? And I was winning. I was 6-0. Then when the UFC called me, I was 6-1. But I was just fighting around. So I was getting people from other countries will tweet or put on Facebook something about me because I would fight and win, and they were like, and when my name started just popping in South America.
Yeah.
And then one day I just got an email, hey Marlon, this is blah blah blah. We're an agency that works for the UFC. I almost crashed.
Was that your intention? Was to go to the UFC?
I told myself, if the UFC don't call me, I will never fight for anybody else.
Holy shit.
I swear on my kids, that was my goal. When I was 17, I would wake up every morning and say the same prayer. And I wouldn't ask for health, money. I was asking just for fucking being in the UFC.
Holy shit.
Every time I would go for a training or running or lifting, and I was feeling any tired or any not motivated, I would just say UFC. And I would fucking get a heart on and go fucking get it done.
Bro. Well, so what got you into thinking like knowing you had to think like that at that age?
Well,
Like that intention?
I had a daughter. That changed my life. That made me push on another level. And I don't come from rich family. So it was really get a normal job or help my dad or really make it to the UFC. And I really didn't want the other two. I would love to work with my dad because we're cool. And he's a farmer and I love that life. But I never had a plan B.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking, okay, if I fail on this fighting thing, I'm going to work for that. I was like, fuck everything. I want to make it no matter what. Like, if I would tell you when I was 6-year-old and I was sitting on the swing at my house, I remember me thinking to myself, I'm going to be a cool motherfucker when I grow up.
Dude, this is such an interesting thing.
And this is real. I'm not making this up. I would be on the swing, fucking playing like a little kid. And in my head, I would just be like, I'm going to be a bad motherfucker. I'm going to be a gangster. I don't know how. I don't know when. And I just grew up thinking I'm going to be cool.
Like, I'm going to do something.
I'm gonna do exactly. So I was never worried about, because growing up, I didn't have no idea. I didn't want to be a doctor, a cop, fucking dentist, drug dealer. I don't want nothing. I was like, I don't know. You know, you get to an age that everybody, grandma, auntie, friends, family.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? Where are you going
Yeah.
to college? What
I
you
remember
like? And I was like, nothing. They're like, what do you mean? Nothing. And I'm like, don't worry. I figured it out. And everybody thought I was going to be most people thought I could be a bomb or nothing, just because I never grew up saying like, oh, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that.
Yeah.
I just knew that
Something.
I'm going to be something.
Dude, it's such an interesting. I literally did a podcast earlier today, and I've had these conversations with so many people who are successful, and Oh, and I felt the same way. I remember being young and feeling like there's something I'm gonna do with my life that's just not normal. And I just felt it. Obviously, I'm not a fighter, you know.
But you are something. You know what I'm saying? Like you are successful. You do things that normal people don't do. Normal people go to college, and then they get a small job. They go told what to do. Then if they have enough moxie in them and they know how to go through life, they start escalating. But that's the small percentage.
Yeah.
The regular is just like sit down, yes sir, okay, drink coffee, go home sad, have a wife that don't really like, just like hi baby, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go jerk off, see you later. But the small percentage have a good life, been through the ringer, knows there's ups and downs, but keep plugging away,
Yeah.
keep going forward.
Why do you think most people tend to like submit to that sort of lifestyle, the norm?
Comfort, dude. And going back to the diet, people that eat like shit and feel like shit, that's their normal. Feeling like shit, like sluggish, slow, fucking 3 liters of Coca-Cola, 6 a.m. and a Big Mac.
Yeah, it's
I
bullshit.
mean, if you do that in daily basics, actually it's good. But that's your good.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get it. Like, you're literally, your brain, it's almost like you feel so shit and you're so used to that shit
That
feeling.
you don't know that.
You couldn't even know that you could do more, be better, be
That's
greater.
what sometimes people ask me, like, how does it feel like being married forever? I'm like, that's all I know. I love it. I don't need to know more. But people like eat like shit. That's all they know.
Yeah.
So when they change, they go like, oh my god. But that's why it's so hard to let that go. Going back to why people get used to being that is because they get used to that. They're like, this is my normal. I gotta set my life. I
Yeah.
don't came from money. My parents didn't really help me. Doesn't matter. You find your way. In life, we all have a different road. No one have the same path. Some people take a little faster to get there, but you can worry about them. Some people never make them. Don't worry about them. You just keep going on your path because there will be bad things. It's gonna be obstacles. It's gonna be failing, all that. And guess what? It's gonna keep happening even if you're successful.
Yeah. That's
You
a
just
fact.
gotta keep going. I mean,
Yeah.
like if you think about it, life is short, but can be long if it's miserable.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. A good friend once said it's the longest thing we'll ever know, which is a fact. But I think the thing that people they miss out is the self-doubt, obviously. But so back to the idea of like knowing that there was something more for you before there ever was anything actually tangible. Like for someone who's like struggling to feel that, or like, how could someone find that? Like, how did you find? Because like I actually can't even say. If I sat here and I tried to explain it to you, to answer my own question I just gave you, I'm like,
It will be hard to explain, but I would think just growing up good. And when I say growing up good, doesn't mean growing up with a lot of money, with everything, everything is gifted. Every day you get the best things. I just think it's when you have a good environment, like good family, good food, and laughing. I grew up laughing my whole entire life. That's why I can take jokes or start talking, because I wasn't once that I remember that I wasn't laughing my ass off with my sister or brother, with my parents, with my family, with my cousins, playing on the street, in a school, and people don't practice too much smiling. They're too tied in their own shit that you need to let loose. You need to fucking have fun. You need to laugh. And if you don't grow up doing that, you're gonna fucking become a shell of yourself. And that's maybe, but it's hard to say why or how I was on that swing telling myself I'm gonna be a bad motherfucker when I grow up.
it's so crazy, man. It's
But
just crazy how that's a thing.
I feel some people have it and some people don't.
And that's the thing. Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
I like sometimes my coach told me this, like he's been asked before, like, are champions made or born? And he goes, a little bit of both.
Both.
But he's inclined more for you gotta born with something different. You gotta be a little crazy. You gotta be a little fucked up in the head to think and be selfish and have a big ego and say, I'm gonna fucking step in your neck and take your belt.
Yeah.
And Monday night we'll see. After the fight's over, and you go in there and you say, I don't give a fuck. I have what it takes and I'm gonna get it done. That's why visualization and meditation and all these soul feeding stuff, they're good things that add. Plus all the hard work, of course, and if you're lucky enough having the right people around, because sometimes people careers are over just by who's around.
Oh,
And
man.
in anything,
Yeah.
if you have negative people or people with low confidence and low anything, even if they love you, they will drag you down with them.